Got it. Hello everyone, Shadow here, and welcome to another Transport Fever 2 update. And before we begin, I just want you guys to know that today's video is a bit impromptu. I actually wasn't planning on doing so much work in Transport Fever 2 today. I just want to take this time to say that with everything that's been going on with the recent viral outbreak, that I hope everybody's taking the proper precautions and making sure that they pay attention to reputable news sources. And while I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy, I would like to take this time to remind everyone to please wash and sanitize your hands as often as possible. And please also follow the proper guidelines and protocols set forth by your local administrations. There is a lot of misinformation out there, but please be sure to get your news from reputable sources, and only together can we beat this outbreak. And now that PSA is out the way, some housekeeping. Please like, subscribe, and definitely share. As mentioned in the previous video, I am considering releasing this map if it gets enough attention. But in the meantime, I will turn this into a series. Building New York. Well, I'm sure we could come up with a better name than that eventually. I'm open to suggestions, leave them below. So a bit of a surprise for you guys. What you're seeing now is what I actually did today. I had a bit of time on my hands, so I actually worked on the Sea Beach line. That is the N line, going out to Coney Island Stillwell Avenue. Over the past few weeks, I have been actually doing a lot of work, but this I actually did today. So I'm going to focus on the Sea Beach line. I want you guys to see exactly what I did over the last few hours, and hopefully you guys will be pleasantly surprised at the end. Let's speed this up, shall we? So I just want to take this opportunity to remind everyone that this is a pseudo series. Not every station will be represented in the game. The map really isn't big enough. But for the Sea Beach line, I will have the following 4 stations in order: 59th Street, 8th Avenue, Fort Hamilton Parkway, and New Utrecht. I probably butchered that last one. I don't generally ride the N train at all. Well, not that far deep in Brooklyn. So if this is your station, sorry. And because I don't ride the N train that often, you're gonna see me stopping periodically throughout this video. Mainly because I'm looking at videos as well as images of the individual stations, as I can't really rebuild them from memory. Wait, Shadow, you were building a lot of these stations from memory? Yeah, actually I was. I wasn't kidding that I used to ride the train a lot growing up. Even now for work, I still do ride the train a lot. I'm not actually a New Yorker anymore, but that's a story for another video. I still do actually work there, and I will always claim Brooklyn as my home. But what you're seeing in the background right now is me trying to get that transition from underground to above ground just right. And I hope you guys are really happy with the end result. Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. This one is probably going to be the most difficult transition I've done so far. Mainly because it's unique, to say the least. When the N train transitions from underground, it actually emerges underneath a highway and next to a minorly to moderately used freight line. So I want to actually capture all of that in this transition. So it's going to take a little bit of fine tuning on my part. Now keep in mind, it's not going to be exact, but I do want to capture that separate freight line. I do want to capture the highway above the station. I also even want to capture some of the more greenery that you see during the spring and summer months. I know that sounds really ambitious, but I was determined to try. By the way, when I said I was trying to capture everything, I was really trying to capture everything, including the retaining walls on the side of the track. So this is one of the reasons why the transition was so difficult, constructing the highway. Maybe one day I'll actually build the highway in its entirety, the Belt Parkway merging into the BQE, but for now, this is just going to be a placeholder and visual aid. I'm really using it for not just scenery, but to help me guide the line, as the highway does run parallel to the track ever so briefly, but long enough that I can actually use it as a signpost. I did mention it's gonna take me several tries, right? Yeah. Maybe I should jump ahead a little. Well, what do you think? Don't worry, I'm not leaving it like this. But you can see that I am actually getting somewhere now. Yeah, I know. For the train purists out there who actually take the end line, they know that when it comes out of ground, it's actually on the same level of those freight tracks, and then it ascends above them. But it's a game, and it really was a distance issue, so I had to improvise. So I may or may not actually build out the freight line as it runs all the way out to the coast. It really does depend. I'm not sure yet. I haven't made up my mind on it yet, but I might actually do that. If I could find some images and videos of how the freight line actually looks from the ground perspective rather than satellite, I probably will do that. Speaking of satellite, according to satellite imagery, the line actually goes underneath the station. So just gonna do a quick correction here. It's gonna take me a little bit to line it up properly, but let's pull this off. Deep in the trench over there because I remember it kind of was a little bit lower. Yeah, that's looking a little better. Not quite right, but it's looking a little better. Yeah, now if you excuse me, I'm gonna get my Bob Ross on. I'm gonna put down some happy little trees. Now, from an aerial view, it doesn't look that impressive, but from the ground, trust me, you guys will like this. And if you compare it to some of the videos out there that show the end line, I think you will see this is probably the most realistic stretch of track I have done so far. Which is why I skipped ahead to show you what I've done with this, as opposed to what I've been doing for the last couple weeks. I'll release videos on that, but yeah, I really wanted to show you guys this. Also, for the sake of some realism, I'm putting retaining walls in the station so that you can't just see right through them. Not to mention, the walls actually give you a sense of being there. Some of these stations are slightly below ground, so the retaining walls is actually part of the actual side of the, well, the wall. Now, to even make it even more realistic, putting down a retaining wall on one side, and I will put fencing on the other, as it is in real life, so that you can have a more pseudo-realistic ride down this track. See what I did there? Wow, we're almost 10 minutes in and we haven't even gotten to the good stuff yet. So if you don't mind, I'm gonna speed this up even more. So it was around this part that I was trying to clean up the line a little bit more, but also I will have to build out the D line because over at New Utrecht, however you pronounce it, it connects to the 62nd Street station on the D line. And remember last week I was asking for above ground stations? Well, we got a quick and dirty above ground station released in literally the next day. Now I know these are probably not going to be the final products, and this is why I am not actually gonna showcase full lines at this time because these stations are very likely to change. They're still very buggy and they still have several issues with them, mainly where the doors open up on the wrong side. But in the meanwhile, with their release, it does mean I can lay out the bare bones of many of the lines that are out there. Plus, it looks freaking cool, so kudos to the modder that pushed this forward. I will be sure to credit him in the video description, as he's actually making this series even possible at this point. Plus, with their release, I can actually have the whole D line in play. But until either better stations come out or this station is updated so that it actually has more options, I'm not going to showcase the above ground stations. Besides, that's not what today's video is about anyway. Today's video is about the Sea Beach line, and most of that line is on ground level or below ground level. And guess what? We're almost done. Like I said, I'm not including all the stations in this. It's a pseudo series, but enough is going to be featured where you can enjoy the ride. So with that said, I'm gonna actually stop showcasing the remaining construction here because it's only what, 2 other stations included at this point, and those are fairly pretty much the same. And with that said, I would like to take this opportunity to say please like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching. This is 59th Street. Connections available to the R train.